Hello. Greetings, beautiful friends. How we doing? Happy Moon Day. It actually is a full moon. Pretty much. It's about to be a full moon. Taking a moment to ground in. Taking a moment for soul family to join. Happy Moon Day. I'm excited for today. I'm always excited for these. It's like one of the things I look forward to the most every week. Happy Moon Day, the Dobermans, Leah Templar, ahoy me hearty, me old pirate friend, Natasha Moki, greetings from Mexico. Oh, beautiful. Laura Lee, happy Moon Day. Welcome, everyone. So good to see all of you. Thanks for saying hello. Now is a good time, as usual, to breathe, set intentions, arrive into this moment fully as we kind of relax into this state where we can give and receive more and deeper. It's so beautiful to come together every Monday and share. I'm so grateful. And I just want to take a moment, just a little moment, to ground in with this gratitude. Gratitude for this life, for this breath, for your heart beating in your chest. What a miracle. For a cozy home, healthy body, healthy mind, nourishing food, clean water. So many beautiful, simple things to give gratitude for right now. For each other, being able to walk this path as empowered individuals together. What a gift. Hello, everyone. And a beautiful Earth Garden of Eden. All right. So, yes, I called this the middle path today. Because I feel like I talk about that a lot. Oh, I got some little... because I talk about that a lot, and it's something I'm continually finding again and again and again. On this journey, for me especially, I'm sure for many of us, this experience of ascension, this experience of, it feels like, our higher selves, God, is guiding us into walking this multidimensional experience, with God, with Source, with who we truly are, coming back into who we are but also physically, also having a physical body. So, it's really interesting. And the middle path is something I find, it's something I hear, it's something I have to come back to time and time and time again, because it's just, that's the balance, that's really finding the balance. Because when you are even just living life, let alone, starting to access these kind of more spiritual realms, it can get really intense. There's a lot of extremes. And so it's really helpful to remember to come back into, the center, your center, which is truly in the heart. you know, if you ever find yourself in places where it seems like there's so extremes, or you're trying to find like what's the truth, oftentimes it's actually coming into the middle. You know, I think a lot of times we're programmed to think it's either or, but as we come into this like multidimensional realm, a lot of times it's actually both and more, you know. So really, really deep things. And in the middle path, it's so beautiful because it's so simple. You know, it applies in the most simplest of concepts and in the most, I'd say, complex and convoluted ones as well. Good morning, William. Hi, Aaron. Leah, and a beautiful earth garden of Eden. Yes. Yeah. So it's going to be a good one today. My cat is saying hello, if you can hear him. But before I get too much into that, I'm just going to kind of flow with, you know, if you guys saw the video I made the other day, it's kind of funny. You know, someone commented about, you know, we had this 3-3 portal, and just kind of like there's a lot going on, you know, there's a lot astrologically. You know, and we're in sun is in Pisces, so the Pisces beautiful thing about Pisces is it's the last zodiac. So for me at least, it feels very much like a time of reflection, you know. At least astrologically speaking, this is kind of actually like the end of the year, you know. And then when we go into Aries, spring equinox, that's at least again astrologically speaking, that's like the beginning of the new year, you know. That's when all of life is being rebirthed. At least, again, I'm speaking for northern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere, it's actually the opposite. But for many of us up here in the north, that's when it's going to be spring, and you know things are already kind of starting to blossom a little bit. Very exciting. You know, the light is coming back. You know, so we can feel like that life force energy coming back. So you know that's really, really exciting. It's a really good time to reflect and set intentions with that. So I just wanted to share that. And yeah, that video, it makes me laugh because as you can see, if you watched, you know, that video about, it's about, and for people feeling like, where am I? I don't know. That was really intense for me, you know, and I know a lot of people resonated with that. And some people are probably like, what? Which is totally okay. I totally understand that. But it's just amazing times, you guys. It really, really is. It really blows my mind, like what we can experience here. And it's something that I truly give thanks for. You know, it's something that I truly want to experience. You know, I love to experience, um, I guess, like, I almost want to say just like uncharted territory. Like, I love to experience these deep, spiritual, mystical experiences. You know, for me, I think that's something I honestly strive for, having these kinds of mystical experiences, even though they can be intense, even though they can be sometimes ungrounding. Ultimately, you know, you come back again to your center. You know, you come back to your center and you're able to process and integrate it. You know, when people were making jokes like, "Are you on drugs?" You know, which is funny. It's funny because it's like it feels like it, and that's what's so weird. Is and but I'm not. I'm not. But that's what's so weird about these times is, you know, and it's always been like this, but I feel like it's more accessible now, where you know we can have these like really deep, profound, mystical, psychedelic experiences just living our lives, though. You know, you're not needing even drugs or plant medicine. You know, and I have, you know, used plant medicine a lot, and especially in my awakening, so I know how it feels. And it's like it really does kind of feel like that, but it's like without, you know, we're just like, that's the intensity, that's like the access, we have access to like these new higher states of consciousness. And it's so high, it's so full of love, it's so full of light, it's so incredible. It really is. But it can still be really intense. And actually, it can even be sometimes freaky. You know, it can actually be scary. You know, it's like, you know, people make jokes about like in the Bible, like, you know, people seeing angels and being like, oh my God, what the hell? You know, but it really is like that. You know, you can see like, or, you know, experience something really angelic, really beautiful, but you know, as a human being, it's still like, whoa. It's like, what? Because it's just so beyond our perception, you know. So when we perceive it, when we're able to start perceiving it, it can be overwhelming. So that's why I wanted to share that video, because I've had that experience many times. And you know, I saw this meme, which is funny. I should post it sometime. But I saw this meme that says, everybody gangster until reality dissolves. And I think that's so funny because it's so true, you know, because then I had, you know, some people like, what are you talking about? Like, people are like, she's crazy. Like, she needs help. But I'm like, once reality dissolves before you and you're not even like on drugs at all, it's just like, I feel like that's when you know, like, it's humbling. It's humbling. It's like, that's what I'm trying to say, you know? And again, it's that middle path. It's again that middle path of, you know, I feel like to some extent we know who we are, we know what we're doing, we know why we're here. And we need that because it's like we need to build off of that. You know, we have our inner knowings, we have our experiences, you know, we have our inner knowings, we have our connection to God's source, to the truth. You know, that's who we are. You know, we wouldn't even be here without that. So we have that. And at the same time, there's so much we don't even know we don't know. You know, so it's like, that's a perfect example of the middle path. On one hand, you could get arrogant and you could think you already know everything and you already have everything figured out and be really closed off to new information. Or on the other hand, you know, you could be just completely like never accepting anything as truth. Just, um, you know, like constantly like totally just floating without anything. Or you can find this middle ground of you know who you are, you know, you have these experiences. And it's, again, it's really multidimensional, because when I'm saying you know who you are, it's beyond just even physical. It's not even just your ego I'm talking about, but it's like you are this eternal presence. You know you are that. You know it. You know, like that's why you're here. It's just kind of obvious, right? So that to some degree. But also there's so much more that's coming. There's so much more that's expanding. There's so much more. The veil is being lifted. You know, that's kind of what I was experiencing as well. Just to talk a little bit, you know, and if anyone wants to share their experiences in the chat as well, of like if you experienced anything for that 3-3 portal, because I know it was really intense for some people. You know, either way, it's totally fine if it was or if it wasn't. But I feel like it was like, I really don't even get that into like the numbers days, but I have to remind myself because they rock me. I don't know, I'm telling you, they rock me. They really do. Like I felt like I was like, there was just so much energy like coming out of my vessel that I was like not in control of, you know. It was like one of those reminders of like I'm not in control of like this experience. And again, that's another middle path example, because it's like in those moments I've learned it's like you don't have control of it. You literally have to surrender to your higher self, surrender to God. It's like you can't try to control it, because in those moments it's like it's so bizarre when it gets really intense like that. You can't really control it, and it's like you can't even control your own self. Sometimes if anyone else feels that, it's like I'm like, you know, why am I thinking this again? You know, it's like, okay, you know, why am I doing this again? Okay, like let me come back to the present moment. Okay, you know, it's like I can't even, you know, barely control myself. And again, I think that's a good example of like that middle path of like get like surrendering. It's like multidimensional, because what the middle path really means, this is so important. This is such an important thing I feel like to understand about reality. Is it's like there's always these like paradoxes. It seems like as you're like starting to get into like, you know, these deeper like spiritual experiences and realms, it's like there's always these paradoxes. But in a way, you know, you can call them paradoxes, but they're not really even paradoxes when you understand them. It's just the fact that we live in like a quantum realm. So like, you know, it's like being able to totally surrender, you know, and at the same time, it's like, you're still being present, you're still like, it's like you're surrendering to God, to your higher self, but you're still being present. Like you're still like, this is what I'm trying to say, is like you're not getting totally like sucked into like the tornado of like, it's so hard to explain, because it seems like a paradox, but it's not. It's like you're surrendering and you're flowing, but like you're still here, and this is something for all of us, I think, to just contemplate on and meditate upon. Is like, especially like in Earth, it's very clear that there's duality. It's always left, right, red, blue. And it's so important, I find, to come into that middle path again, come into that, that's really like the heart of what the middle path is not getting sucked into duality. Because duality alone can just like, that's the heart of the whole divide and conquer in humanity right now. The divide and conquer within humanity is probably one of the greatest issues, we're dealing with, as far as like uniting and problem solving and coming together as a human race, is like these forces using duality as a way to like divide people constantly, because it works so well, because it's like it's always those two, it's always those two. And it seems like very few people, more and more as we awaken, that are able to come into the middle and truly have like that middle awareness, that like in that balance. And it's again, and so that's kind of like the more physical example, but I feel like it continues on in higher realms in more subtle ways, where there's like, do I do this or do I do that? And oftentimes, if you're having like some kind of like balancing act with these things, then it might be something to consider, like, where's the middle path? Do I do something? Do I do nothing? Or maybe I do both at the same time. Seems paradoxical, but it really isn't. It really is something that helps me a lot in my path. It's just kind of how my mind operates, especially when things get intense. It's like, yeah, there's so many examples I can give on that I just want to like keep going with that. But I'm going to say hi to everyone in the chat real quick. Hello again, William. I think I already said hi, but it's just always good to see you. Yeah, Leah says not many, the middle path, the path least often walked, and the path that many don't talk about. Thank you for you. Thank you. Cool. Hi, Olivia. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, James. Hi, Kitty Cat. Caribou Cam. Hi. I'm glad you found me as well. You want to say hi? Leah says, when you transcend duality in your base 7 chakras, your connection to Earth is severed and your karmic debt paid. It is difficult to ground at this time while your new higher chakra systems awakens. Cool. I was going to grab him, but he's too heavy for me to grab with one hand. The Dobermans. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. That's exactly like what I was saying. I emptied my cup. A full cup cannot receive. Interesting. I had 4 rips in my veil around the portal over 2 days. Eternal Truth. What's up? Good to see you. Bone Man in the house. The Yu-Gi-Oh episode with Para and Docs. Eternal Truth, thank you so much for that beautiful super chat. You're super, super, super. Okay, Poogle, come here. Come say hi. Oh, he got away. The moon this morning was incredible. You know what? I had a dream about the moon. Sometimes that happens. Like, I didn't even get the chance to see the moon yet, but like I had such a vivid dream about seeing the moon last night. Duality is for lessons. Unconditional love transcends duality. Yeah, well said. I wonder about emptying an overflowing cup, if it's even possible. That's a good one. It's just like that source energy just flows and flows and flows and flows and flows. It just keeps flowing. Richard, hello. The path least taken, the middle path, the balanced in equilibrium path. From Pennsylvania. Reminder, I've been listening to you for over a year or two. You bring me so much calm and joy. Well, thank you so much. This is an honor to be here, truly. Really appreciate that. And thank you, Kitty Cat, for the 20 super chat. Really appreciate it. Appreciate you all so much. Yeah, so good times. Amazing times, truly. Yeah, another thing I like to say with the middle path is, I say this a lot too, but do no harm and take no shit. I feel like that's so important to remember, because on this earth, it's like, from speaking, just always speaking from my experience, um, it's like really important to learn how to operate in the light and in the dark. And again, it's like that middle path, like do no harm, take no shit. Unconditional love for yourself and for others, for all. And there's this, like, I kind of want to get into some, like, kind of deep stuff when it comes to navigating, even like the evil in the world. It's like, for me, for me, yeah, this is an important one, because for me personally, it's like when I see, the evil stuff going on in the world and people being harmed, innocent people and animals being harmed, it's like it really raises my awareness. And it's like, that's something that I don't like to really take necessarily, like a lofty approach to. But at the same time, it's like understanding, like, the whole picture. It's like, because this is what I'm really trying to say is, like, again, do no harm, take no shit, being sovereign, protecting, having those sacred boundaries and protecting yourself and others, recognizing God's source is love, is, creative energy. And so, how to say it? So it's like, we live for practical reasons for what we're doing on this mission of how we're trying to assist humanity and the collective and ourselves ascend out of the 3D, out of this abyss, out of this dense realm with, this, crazy stuff. It's like crazy stuff here. Not only is it dense, but there is literally, these forces that have rebelled against God through free will and decided to go nuts. I don't know how else to say it. Do these things where, you're trying to separate yourself from God's source. So now it's like you're harming yourself. Ultimately, you're harming others. You're harming things. You're harming yourself. Really, ultimately. And so it's, again, that middle path of, like, being able to navigate that without giving into it, because I truly don't believe we're supposed to give into it. When I see that, to me, that just is like a red flag, because it's like, I'm not giving into evil. I'm just not. It's like, that just does not sit well with my heart at all. But at the same time, it's like, so being able to kind of like have that sovereignty, and that kind of like, it's like that's the mission we're on, that love, that truth, and like being able to rise above that. But this is the thing I'm trying to say is, like, but not necessarily like feeding into like the hatred and the divisiveness of that evil that exists in this realm that we see, that we see around us. I think that's so important, because what's funny is, like, and that's why, like, we as light workers, or whatever you want to call us, pioneers, spiritual pioneers, walking this middle path, it's like our responsibility is so great. Like, we really have to, like, it's like, how they say, like, be the bigger person. Like, we have to be the bigger person beyond in so many ways. And so it's certainly not easy, but it's so important. It's so rewarding, because it's like, I feel like it's important for us to be able to not feed into that evil or allow that evil, because to me that's inverted, but also not feed into what that evil wants. which is to divide us, which is to fear it, which is to hate it, which is to these types of things. It's kind of really deep, you guys. It's really, really deep. But this is why this is so important, is because, like, energetically, if you're still feeding into evil in any way, and again, this is a practice, don't beat yourself up about it. It's so important to first start with your sacred boundaries and be sovereign. Like I talk about all the time, being that love and light, so strong, also not consenting to harm. For me, it's like I feel very like, it's just like I really do. For me personally, I know I'm on a mission, and many of us are aware of this. So it's like we're here to assist. It's like we're actually like on assignment. As crazy as that sometimes sounds, it's true. So for practical reasons, like, this is what we're doing. We're coming and anchoring in these high states, this love and this light energy to the earth. And in a way, it's like we're being soldiers of God to basically take back the earth from, like, this fallen state that it's in, right? This state that's fallen into, again, iniquity, into evil, into like horrible things, horrible things that happen on this earth. So it's like remembering to, like, not like what that evil wants is it wants more division. It wants to pull you into that madness. It's like a virus. And I feel like that's actually part of why humanity fell, is people were either corrupted by that thousands of years ago, or it, how to say it, because they weren't able to, like, totally rise above it. It's like they fed into that fear and that division and that hatred of it, that it was like that also actually contributed to the fall, So I guess really ultimately what I'm trying to say, I know this is really complex, I feel like this is pretty complex, but it's just food for thought. I never like to tell people what to think, ever. It's never my goal. This is just stuff that I think about. But yeah, it's like, so it's just interesting when we get into these topics, because this is something I do think about a lot. And I think it's so important to have these conversations, because there's so many people that won't go there, that they just won't go there. They won't go, there's a lot of spiritual people that they won't talk about this stuff. And I get it. Everybody has their own role to play. Everybody has their own role to play, and it's not for everyone, but for many of us, I think it is important to understand that this collective shadow, the different layers of it, the history of it, the real solution to it, for many of us, it's not just simply ignoring it, but it's like transmutation of it in many ways. It's like recognizing it, observing it, seeing it for what it is, which is, again, multifaceted, and not feeding into it, though, because that's really what it wants, that evil, that shadow, those, whatever you want to call it, those entities, they want you to feed in, because they feed off of your negative energy, loosh or whatever. We all are aware of that. People call it that. It's like they feed off of that. So it's like, it's like, don't feed into it. That's how I've learned. And, even love. And that's where unconditional love is so powerful, because, a lot of us, we have to really remember in our soul what unconditional love really is. It's beyond what we think. Starting with ourselves, having unconditional love for yourself, for others, for God, for all of creation. So it's like, to me, having unconditional love, even in the face of evil, it's like you're still having that love. It's like it's an infinite love. It's an infinite love of creation that could never be destroyed. So it's like, it doesn't mean you're tolerating abuse. It doesn't, like, that's not love. It doesn't mean you're tolerating evil or tolerating people harming innocent people. It's like, that's not love. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's like, it's energetic. You're still having love and respect for all that is, because that's where your power is. That's just what I found. That's where your power is, not giving into like this hatred of even the shadow. Again, so it's kind of complex. This is why I'm bringing up the middle path. This is just, this is just stuff I think about, is like not giving into that, not giving into that separation, but also recognizing what has occurred in this universe and what we're doing, what we're doing here to assist humanity. I know that sounds really convoluted, so hopefully that makes sense. If not, either way, it's definitely something to think about, right? Just how we navigate this stuff. I think many of us, well, this is, I call my channel Transforming the Darkness. So it's like, this is something we all think about. Again, being able to be in that love and that light, which feels so good. I feel like that's, in a way, that's the easy part. Like I was saying earlier, sometimes it can be overwhelming when you feel such love and light come in. It's like, whoa. But also being able to be sovereign and be the light in the darkness, it's like you shine brightest in the dark, like a star, that's who we really are. So again, it's like, I think both of these things are so important, and to be able to, again, walk in that middle path, being able to be sovereign in your light, being able to be sovereign in the dark, finding, in deepening what that means to you, how you're gonna react to that. About, I would say a month ago, about a month ago, I was sitting there and I just got this like strong download that like things are getting like more intense, and again, it's like, I hate to say that because it almost loses its meaning, because I say that a lot. Everyone, we're all feeling this, but collectively, I just felt this really strong like message of like, things are getting more intense in the collective. and it was true, it was true. But the whole point of that wasn't to cause fear, or wasn't just to like, just tell me that. But the whole reason of that was like for me to prepare, and this is why I'm sharing this now still. It was to prepare for like, how are you going to react though? Things getting more intense. How are you going to react? And it brought me back to like 2020, when things got really intense. And it was like, thinking about how I reacted, and we as like a collective, how we reacted to those shifts. That was a very, talk about duality. Like that was a very polarizing time. And how we manage that. And when I think back to those times, I think I have no regrets about how, I responded to those things, but I definitely want to respond now, knowing what I know now, all the knowledge, all the experience, all the wisdom, all the strength that we have all acquired since 2020 and all those events that happened. How do I really use that and integrate that, to choose how I want to respond now, as things are unfolding in the collective. It's like things are definitely different now. A lot of people are awakening now, for sure. And I think that's kind of really, just kind of speaking off the cuff here, I feel like that's actually why it's so crazy, is because one of the reasons why it's getting so crazy is because it's this matrix is like, it's losing control. Very obviously, it's losing control in many ways. People just aren't feeding it like they used to. And there's so many people, there really is so many people like us that, okay, he's gonna say hi. Ooh, isn't he precious? He's a precious man. He's like, what am I doing? I don't want to be here. Okay. He actually wants out. I'm gonna let him out. Okay, I'm back. But yeah, really just thinking about like how I want to respond, how I want to respond to things intensifying, to like these patterns kind of like coming up again individually, but especially like collectively. And with so many people awakening, with people like us awakening so deeply, really deeply, and more people starting to question everything, it's bringing the collective consciousness into, again, like really uncharted territory, really like a new state. And so, on one hand, it's like, yeah, that shadow it's less powerful, but I think it's also more desperate. Truly, that's just how I feel. That's what I see. But again, it's not something to be afraid of. Like, that's the key. Like, that's the key that I really want to bring into like this new, this new time is like, it's normal to feel fear. We all feel fear. But to be able to process that and not react towards, again, whether it's in our individual lives or these collective things, be able to react in a way that's not fear-based. You know, not getting so riled up, necessarily. Because again, it's like oftentimes that's like just fading into like what this, artificial matrix wants. It wants to get your goat like that. But again, this is again that middle path of like not feeding into that, very much like not feeding into that, but also responding, like being responsible. Again, this is that middle path that I'm talking about. And these are, again, just things that I'm thinking about. It's like not giving into like not giving into like the fear or to whatever it is, the division especially, which can be hard sometimes. It can be hard sometimes because there's very extreme things happening. There's very tyrannical things trying to happen. Very apparent, very blatant. So like not feeding into that, but also like observing it and being responsible for it, because it's like we really are the solution. Like we as humanity, all of us, not someone alone, but like we really are the solution in this ascension. And so we as a people, it's like we really have to take responsibility however we can, for ourselves first and foremost, and for our families, for our loved ones, for our communities, building communities, like it's like this letting go of this like slave mentality that's so deep, where it's like somebody's gonna come save us, or like the government's gonna help. Like the government's not gonna help. Like, it's like don't, and we all know this, but it's like, how can we truly be the solution? That's where I'm at. It's like that to me is the middle path. Like I don't personally, everyone has different roles. Again, this is all, we all have our own part in this grand symphony, but I'm just, feel called to share. It's like, I don't feel called to give into like that matrix fear at all anymore, or division. But at the same time, it's like, I don't really feel called to completely ignore it either. Like I feel like observing it is important, because when you're observing it, consciously, especially, you're observing it through the eyes of God, which is important. But then also, however we can, assisting if you're in a place where you can assist, even if it's just sending love, even if it's, at the very least, I say the very least, but this is actually really, really powerful. So I don't want to say it like that. But even if it's sending love to, others, people that are going through it, or, doing some kind of grid work, like I was sharing with the East Palestine thing, that's something that I've been doing. Or if you're able, more physical, practical things, being able to, I feel like it's important, especially in your own communities, just something to start thinking about, like how to be more responsible, how to be more proactive, I guess is the word, how to be more like solution oriented. And again, this is also a really good point, is, with others that get it, with others that are willing, like not forcing it upon people, but for those who do see, for those who are open, for, people like, like we're all here together, we're all, understanding each other. things like that. Like just even this, even just sharing our love, sharing our ideas, sharing what we're thinking about. I feel like even just sharing our support alone, don't underestimate that. The support alone is so, powerful for so many people. So I don't know. That just wanted to come out because it's interesting. It's like I see it because I think about it a lot. Again, that's something I think about is like in my heart, I think about humanity a lot. It's just kind of, you know, who I am. And it's like being able to hold this neutrality, but also being able to like play the role that you're here to play, which is revealed to you in each moment in your heart ultimately. So many beautiful things going on in here. Devil backwards is lived. Yeah, it's a good one. Evolution. He who does not know the root of evil is no stranger to it. Ooh, that's really good. It's difficult to accept that duality is important for the soul's journey, and the experiences we had over multiple incarnations have given us the perspectives and experiences of being evil and good and everything in between. Really good. Fluffy Fractal's Heart. Starseed ground crew reporting for duty. The final victory of the light is near. That's clever. Do you have an Instagram? Yes, I do. It's Transforming the Darkness. Eternal Truth. In my opinion, having these conversations is way more valuable than religion. Oh, yeah, I agree. It's like, it's so important to talk about these stuff, especially the nitty and the gritty, especially the stuff people don't want to talk about. It's like, that's the stuff we need to talk about the most. But that's the stuff I feel like we really need to talk about with like lots of compassion and love and calmness. There's so many people that will talk about this stuff in these states of fear, or defense, even like really I don't want to say like human things, but like really human things like that I feel like really need talked about. I feel like that's part of our evolution. But it's like a lot of times it's weird how it's like people who are like, I feel like a lot of people who are really, again, extremists, like they want to go out and like just talk about this stuff a lot, but then it's like, the people who are like more actually in the middle and centered and calm, a lot of times it's like they're the ones that don't want to really share because they might be scared of like the blowback. But it's like I feel like that's the people we need the most. Hi, Rufus. Yeah, I don't remember. I think I was like 3 when 9/11 happened. I don't remember it. Um, but I do remember there being a big shift happening, but I definitely can't say I remember too much of like the actual event. Leah is saying so many beautiful things. Thank you so much for sharing. As I walk through the valley of evil, I shall feel no fear. Unconditional love again. The solution, the sun, yeah, star. Being of service to others helps everyone on their own path. Hi, Angie. Good to see you. Rufus says, I've recently learned that I shouldn't always offer solutions to others' issues. Yeah. Yeah, usually people have to be open to receiving that. I've had to learn that too. If people aren't open to receiving solutions or advice, then it usually isn't received very well. That's definitely a big lesson. That's actually a really important point, because I feel like that's something we had to really, as a collective, I say we learn/remember in 2020s. It was like, gosh, I mean, it just to reflect back on that time and all of like the just intense polarity, and a lot of it I feel like really was coming from like good intentions, but just that, not able to communicate, not being able to receive, being very emotionally charged and triggered for many of us. um, that's something that I feel like is a really important lesson to learn. Ultra perspective. What do you think about the shadow work and not judging the thoughts that don't align with the divine transformation of the self? Another really amazing question. Yeah, shadow work is so important. Um, I feel like it's something that again, it continues to deepen. My understanding of it continues to deepen, and not judging the thoughts that don't align with the divine transformation of self. Yeah, it's like, it's such a juggling act, really. I feel like being a human is such a juggling act. It's like, you know, it's like being present, being present and like taking care of yourself the best you can. Um, and then emotions arise, or maybe trauma arises, speaking of shadow work, think dark, uh, or maybe projections, things around you, all kinds of contrast, trauma, sadness, anger, fear, guilt, shame, all these things can arise. And finding, I guess it's really kind of about you finding your own ways and techniques that work for you to navigate that, with love and grace. Again, tends to feel like a lot of paradoxes in that journey, because it's like you want to believe. Am I still here? My connection got weird. Okay. The more you be able to truly hold and believe that you are a good person, that you are whole, that you are complete, I feel like that's important. Not perceiving yourself like you're just always like some terrible, broken being, But at the same time, stuff does arise, and we do have to like transform it. I feel like that's really like the key, is like transforming it. Um, a big part of that, I talk about this a lot, is like emotional intelligence. I feel like emotional intelligence alone, if that's something we were taught as children, like life would be a whole lot easier, and how we try to deal with our pain. Many of us were programmed to try to avoid our pain, repress our pain, escape our pain. But really, if you just feel the pain, feeling is healing, and allow, this is kind of what I was experiencing just a few days ago. It's like allowing yourself without judgment to just feel, get into a, space where you're safe to do this, and just let all these emotions flow and feel without resisting them at all. Just allow them to flow through you. And they will move, again, emotions is energy in motion. So they will move through you. But and it can actually happen relatively fast if you just stop resisting it. But often what happens, and this is where the mind comes in and the thoughts come in, because I feel like the emotions are the things people struggle with the most. Like, that's like the hard part, because people don't want to feel their stuff. But then it's the thoughts that really hook. It's like hook, line, and sinker, because then the thoughts is like you get caught, it's like because you get caught. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's this person. Oh, I've never been able to do this. Oh, I've had this problem all my life. These stories, it's the mind, it's the stories. Like, I feel like that's where things can get really, really tricky. And it's like, so I don't know, just that was a really, really good question. I think it's important to be able to feel your things, allow your emotions to flow. Observe your thoughts. You can't always control them. That's what I mean. Like with these experiences, sometimes it's like they're beyond your control. It's like you have this physical human vessel, you know, you have like this ancestral vessel, you know, that has all kinds of things within you that sometimes it literally has to purge. And it's not a bad thing, because every time you purge, once you're releasing, you're purging energy. So it's like, that's when you're able to like take in new energy, and that's when you're able to have a new perspective on things. So it's a really, really powerful, you know, it's not a bad thing at all. It's like, yeah, it can be painful to release. You know, it's like, what is happening to me? Like, while you're having that experience, sometimes it's like, what is going on? You're just like, you know, maybe you're crying, or you're just feeling this really intense stuff, and trying to allow yourself to freely have that experience, and just observe the thoughts without getting hooked in on them. You know, try not to get hooked in on the stories, because those are what's kind of will, um, you know, keep you. Yeah, the mind is interesting, but really that's key, is to just keep flowing with it, you know, and um, you know, you will get there. It is important, I think, because not all the thoughts we think are our own. You know, not to like take your thoughts so personally, for sure. Because even like your thoughts can just really, really loop you, is what I'm trying to say. So it's like, I think it is important not to judge your thoughts, not to get stuck on those. Just keep flowing. Just keep being present. Just keep flowing. You know, every moment is new. Yeah. So many amazing things. And how to be less in love with all the false attachments this world offers us. Shedding this love sheds the evil it brings with it. Yeah, that's really good. And shedding, that's another word I've been thinking of lately, because I feel like I really did shed, you know, like that 3-3 portal, I'm telling you, was so insane. I literally felt like a flipping snake. Like, I felt like I literally shed my astral skin. I was like, damn. So it's like there's a lot of shedding. There's a lot of shedding that happens on this journey continually. Rufus, I think it's important to be, again, balanced, you know, with service to self and service to others. I think it's important to have like that balance of, again, taking care of yourself. You know, can't pour from an empty cup, but also remembering that we are all one, you know, and a lot of our love and purpose and joy actually really comes from serving others. It's not really just, you know, having all these luxuries, you know, nothing wrong with that, but it's like, that alone is not going to fulfill you, you know. That's like, and I feel like that's kind of like, that'll lead you, that can lead you down a really egotistical path. Again, not that there's anything wrong with those things, but it's like, you got to have that harmony and that balance of serving others, serving your fellow man, realizing, you know, this is why we're here. You know, that's how I feel. Yeah, emotional freedom, letting it flow in, feel it and flow out, like water off a duck's back. Yeah, because it's not personal. Nothing here is personal. Nothing. It's not even you. You know, your emotions, your thoughts, your stories, your memories. Even, it's like, it doesn't define you. I love it. Oh, I love it. That's so cool. Jason, I struggle to stay positive some days, but I know my own chemistry, so I watch myself and give feedback. Beautiful. Yeah. And that's totally normal, you know? It's like, that's the human journey. You know, that's something I really like to be honest about. So thank you for sharing that. Richard and Leah, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome creatures. Leah says the 3-3 portal addressed my greatest and last fear. That's powerful. Hello, William. Back in the saddle. All right. Yes. So let's see if there's anything else. If you guys have anything else you want to share here before we go. something I heard today, I said, in my morning meditation, I was just like, I always ask for messages and I always receive, many messages. But the first thing that came in really loud and clear was like, be still and know that I'm God. I literally heard that so clearly. And I'm not somebody who's like super biblical. So when I hear like quotes from the Bible, it's always like, whoa, to me. Be still and know that I am God. That's such an amazing thing. And it came, and this is the important part of that, is it came from within me. The God within, living God within all of us. Be still and know that I am God. That's something that can right quick pull you out of the matrix. It's like, wait a second. God is within me. God is within me. The too long didn't read version, it's like ultimately it's like humanity, it's like that's the awakening, is remembering that God is within us. That's the manipulation, that's the trick, is we've been tricked into thinking God is outside of us. And that's never true. God is always within us, within all of us. Let's see, anything else? So much peace, so much love. I just want to remind you all always how loved you are, how appreciated you are, how seen you are. So many beautiful people. I really just appreciate it so much. Recently had a meditation where I felt the energy of my grandmother and aunt who passed. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. That's really powerful. Yeah, and that is something we can do. That was actually a part of my awakening. Was having a similar kind of experience like that, and just that deep knowing that life is eternal. Once you have that experience, it's like you can't even go back. When you start having those experiences, life is eternal. Life is everlasting. It truly is. It's like you can communicate with any living being. You just find their soul signature energetically, and it's like they're still here. And especially your loved ones, they're always assisting us. When you talk about a portal, could that mean a direction your life could go? A choice you go with? Yeah. It's just I guess in my own words, it's like this, it's an experience where everything is really, really heightened and intense. It's a shift in the consciousness. Um, so yeah, it's something you can definitely, I would say, take advantage of if you're aware of it consciously. Either way, though, I think it's going to benefit you. Unless you're, most people I feel are on, on the ascension timeline to some degree. If you're on a descension timeline, though, then it might bring you deeper into that. I don't know. And that, by that, I just mean, people who are really into like the fear and the hatred and the artificial intelligence, stuff like that. But I feel like they're definitely not the majority. Yeah, choice points, vortices, points of no return. That's a good way to say it, Bone Man. Thank you. It's like, yeah, it is a choice point. It's like change, shifting. So hopefully that answers your question. The kingdom within, such a beautiful truth when put into practice. So easy to run from myself. Yes. Isn't that the truth? And that's something I love, is like us being honest with this stuff. I admire that so much, is us just being really blunt and honest about what we're going through. Because I think it's so helpful for us to express, but it's so helpful for others to hear as well. Because I feel like a lot of people are still in this programming of like pretending like they're perfect, or like, they don't have these experiences. But it's like, I think the more you can be open and honest about it and find humor in it, especially, finding humor in it, the more you really do overcome it. It's like you shine a light on it for yourself and for others. So that's just really powerful. Leah, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to see you here, and I really appreciate you sharing all of your love and wisdom in the chat. It really is an honor. Thank you. Thank you. We are always in choice. Luminal mind. Richard Bonner says, we can say namaste to our ancestors too. They certainly appreciate us from wherever they are now. Yes, that's such a good point. They really do. They really do, you guys. No matter how maybe clairvoyant you consider yourself now or not, you reach out to your ancestors, they will hear you. They will sense you. They will appreciate you. They already do. And they are cheering for you. They really are. Many of us are the first or one of the first ones in our ancestral lineages to go on this journey. So they honor you so much. Trust me. They're like, come on. They're like, come on. We have people talk about ancestral trauma, and that's true. But don't forget all the ancestral knowledge, the ancestral wisdom, the ancestral love, the ancestral memories. Like that is way, honestly, that outweighs it way more. Especially, our ancestors are past. So it's like there is a wisdom to that. So yeah, never underestimate that. They are always with you. When I sing or when I play music, I feel them. That's when I feel them a lot. I'm like, whoa. It's like they're coming through my voice, because they are. They're within our DNA. They're around us and they're within our DNA. Thank you for hosting and bringing us together. And thank you. Thank you all for coming. I'm so grateful. It's such an honor to be here. Thanks for your response. I recently just let go of an attachment that I've been trying to solve for a long while. Only with acceptance of the emerging of my shadow was I able to do so. Yes, 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 yes. And that's so important. And that's what I talk about again, like, not to go on this whole thing again, but it's like there's this artificial matrix. It's artificial, it's like that's the light and the dark. That's what I'm talking about with like this insanity of like the evil and the control and the tyranny. And to me, that's a different thing than our own light and our own darkness. Our own light and our own darkness within us is so sacred and so important. And it is important to honor your shadow, to honor your ego, have reverence for these things, have reverence for everything, everything in the process of your transformation. That's another thing that I experienced is like people call like ego deaths. And something I encourage is like to have a positive relationship with your ego, with your inner child, with that denser part of you. It's important to try to get on the same page and communicate with it so you're not constantly in conflict. But that's the thing about this ascension process is it's like the ego. I got more stuff. I was holding that Palo Santo. But that's the thing with the ego is it's like it is transformed. You could say it gets transformed on this ascension journey. But it's like in a way it does die. People call it ego death. So I guess it just depends on like how you want to frame it. But it's like I had this kind of moment recently where it's like, and I say this with all my humility. Like I'm not trying to say I am saying this with all my humility. Is like it's like my ego is passing away. Like I felt almost like a sadness in the ego. It was like because it's not operating anymore like how it used to, and that's going to continue to happen, for us on this ascension journey. So it was like in that moment when I was like, wow, I really have compassion for my ego. It's like my ego is acting up because it's again, it knows, it knows that it has to change, and it's beyond words, but hopefully that makes sense. I just want to share that too. I guess my whole point is like just having such love and reverence for these parts of yourself, even if they seem darker or denser. It's like that's truly the way, we heal is we have to get on the same page with these different parts of ourselves and treat them like they're like our inner child, treat them like you would a hurt child, because they're hurt. That's the density is it's often it's hurt, it's in pain. So us hating it or trying to like deny it can actually just irritate it. But when we can love it and accept it and embrace it in a sovereign way, those parts of ourselves, it's like I feel like that's the greatest thing we can do. William, you can travel 10,000 miles and stay where you are. That's a really good point. Bone Man, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that super chat. That is so generous. I really appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here and all of your love and support. Thank you. The man of the bones. Leah says, my grandma passed just before Christmas. I didn't grieve this time. I understand and accept life and death and our eternal souls now. It was beautiful to know she was beginning a new journey. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's deep. Swallow the ego with love. She lives, but she does not create the direction any longer. Thank you, Amanda. Yeah. Ego is the tool. Wow. I love you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. These are all such beautiful comments. Thank you for your love and support for me and for each other and for yourselves and for all in your life. You are making a greater impact than you probably even know. Just being you, just continuing to get up and show up and rise as the best version of yourself. So proud. So proud of all of you. So proud of all of us. Just remember that too. You are so loved. You're so loved. So, so, so loved. I loved transforming how you recommended having a civil conversation with your ego. So it's free to let you, the adult, take over. Exactly. And I've said that before. It's like my ego, I'm at the point where my ego like respects me, It's like in a loving way. And I still have to remind it like, hey, like you're not supposed to be driving the bus. You're not supposed to be driving the bus. And it's like, oh yeah, okay. Because it's just that trauma, it's that fear part of us, having compassion for it, lovingly as the higher self. It's multidimensional, taking back the wheel and saying like, okay, put your seatbelt on. Put your seatbelt on, ego. We're going for a ride. We got this. We can do this. Lisa, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing that. So much love to you. Veluvia, that means I love you. Thank you, Leah. You are such a beautiful soul as well. Eternal truth. All of you, so much love. So, so, so much love. I'm going to hit the singing bowl before we go. But again, just thank you so much. William says, can you imagine if mainstream media promoted these truths? Oh my gosh, what a realm we would live in. Yeah, that's funny. We are the mainstream media now. So let's just take a beautiful moment. Another benevolent breath of gratitude for all of us here, all of us gathering here live or in the replay. Sending so much love to ourselves and each other. Blessings. Wishing miraculous, exciting, joyful things for all of you, for all of us. Calling in that beautiful energy of love, joy, abundance, freedom, connection to God's source, to guide us through the rest of our day, for the rest of our week, for the rest of our lives. Remembering who we are, our love, our beauty, our power, our grace, forgiving ourselves and others, allowing ourselves to be guided by the highest and the holiest within us, taking in that love every day, giving that love every day, remembering everything you're doing is so important and so worth it. No matter how it may seem sometimes, it is so important. You are so important. You are. Remember that. We give love and respect and honor to all of humanity, all of the animals, the earth, all of the beauty of creation, all of the benevolent guides assisting us, ascended masters, the archangels, the angels, the benevolent galactics. So many beautiful beings, our ancestors, our animal spirits. So much love and gratitude. May we continue to go forward with so much love. I love you all so much. I will see you next time. Thank you.